Now let us turn to America. Because while Israel is bleeding, unfortunately, from its terror, America is dealing with rot issues from within. There was a Ukrainian refugee, a woman who fled war. This lady escaped the war that was going on in Ukraine, came to America, and she was hoping for peace and for safety. And she was brutally unalived by a man named Carlos Brown. This woman left the country at war only to find war in the streets of America. And the problem is there's no outrage over this. Where are all the marches? Where are all the hashtags? Did we spray paint her face on the side of the building yet? Did we organize anything yet? Where are the CNN town halls about this? Where are all the say her name chants? Silent, absolutely silent. Why? Because the suspect wasn't a white cop. Because the suspect wasn't a MAGA extremist. Because the suspect doesn't fit the script. And so her life and her death doesn't count. Not in the twisted America of fake social justice warriors, at least not in their book. And this is what gets me fired up. Because if Black lives actually mattered, if they really meant that all Black lives mattered, if justice really meant, like, for these people, that justice for all people, then this poor woman's murder will be the headline of the news. The so-called champions of compassion will be weeping for her. But they're not. They don't care. They only care when they can weaponize a tragedy for their own political gain or against their political opponents. So let's be real. The same people who scream defund the police are the same people who retreat behind gated communities with armed guards and private security, while all the ordinary people, like this young Ukrainian lady, they pay the price for the lawlessness. They pay the price for them defunding the police. They pay the price for this rhetoric. They live in safety. The social justice warriors, they live in safety while everybody else lives in fear. That is not justice. That is hypocrisy. And this isn't new. This is a pattern that's been going on with these people. If you think about Chicago, Baltimore, Philadelphia, every weekend the body count rises. Most young Black men killing other Black men. That's what most of these scenarios are. Children are caught in the crossfire. Mothers are burying their sons. And yet the outrage machine is silent because it's not useful, because it doesn't fit the agenda. And that's because admitting the truth that the greatest threat to Black lives in America is not white supremacy, and it's not Donald Trump, nor is it the conservative movement. It's crime, culture in the Black community, and chaos from within our own neighborhoods. That truth would destroy the whole entire narrative in a second. So therefore, they don't put this on TV. And please make no mistake. It is an industry, billions of dollars poured into BLM organizations. Not to help the families of the victims, not to build schools, not to rebuild any of the neighborhoods, but to buy mansions in California and bankroll lavish lives, very similar to what was happening with the leaders of Hamas. This is why they support each other. It's the same exact thing in the playbook. We live off the suffering of the people. We make money off the suffering of the people. We, meaning BLM, Hamas, Hezbollah. Listen, I'm sorry to stop the show for a second. I just want to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by Market Ding. Look, in today's world, if people can't find you online, then you don't exist. That's where Market Ding comes in. They're a digital marketing and SEO company. They used to dominate healthcare, but now they dominate just about everything. Whether you're running a business or a brand or even a podcast like mine, Market Ding knows how to get you found fast. So don't just show up online, grow online. So visit marketding.com today and watch your growth online explode. Okay, back to the show. Everything that they can to support the lavish lifestyles of these so-called activists who long ago stopped caring about the people they claim to represent. They're all con artists, spiritual arsonists. They light fires of division, and then they cash in on the smoke. So when a Ukrainian refugee is murdered, they have no use for her. She doesn't bring in any donations. She doesn't fuel the race-baiting machine. She doesn't advance the narrative. So they bury the story, and the media plays along because the media is no longer about truth. It's about propaganda. So I will tell you this. If you care about justice, you'd care about this woman. If you care about human dignity, then you'd care about this story. Because it isn't about skin color. This is about what's right and what's wrong. This is about life and death. And the minute we start picking and choosing which lives matter based on their political utility, then we lose our humanity, which many of these people, I submit to you, have lost their humanity a long time ago. Now, some people will say, but Nissim, crime happens everywhere. You can't generalize that. And I agree with you. I can't generalize about individuals. There are good and bad people in every community, but you can't deny the statistics either. We have a problem in the black community with crime. Let's quit lying about this. Let's not talk about this. Is not black culture. I'm going to try to pull this up. Yitzi, if you find this, pull this up. I saw a video. I think it was maybe from the early 1900s. I think it was maybe somewhere in Nebraska or something like that. It was after a business meeting. There's a few of these different videos. And the reason why I saw this is because they were using AI technology to go back and to color old films. And I saw, person after person, and it was obviously a black community. One was coming out of a bank, other one was coming out of a business meeting. And you saw everybody suited and booted, dressed very nicely, looking very well taken care of. You're talking about business owners, people that were handling their business. A black culture that was admirable and beautiful. So I was saying to a few of my friends who was joking on me, and tells me because I'm a Hasidic Jew, I dress like a European. So I showed him this video and I said, listen, I'm dressing like my forefathers did. This is the real black culture. What we are dealing with today is a complete imposter. And this is how the world sees us. This is how the world sees black people. The crime rates don't lie. So let's stop lying. The cultural collapse doesn't lie. Fatherlessness, it doesn't lie. And the refusal to deal with these realities, to actually address the root cause instead of hiding behind slogans. That refusal is what keeps us in the cycle. It's not racist to talk about crime. It's a righteous thing. Because if I don't actually deal with it, if I don't deal or say what the actual problem is, I will never deal with it. Because if you actually love people, you'd want them to live in safe neighborhoods. If you actually cared about black lives, you will want little black boys and girls to grow up without dodging bullets. And if you actually cared about the immigrants and refugees, you will want them to find safety and opportunity and not violence and despair. It's preposterous. The whole thing is crazy. And it's hard to see that people, like, sometimes I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, man, these people can't be serious. Are they serious? And I don't think they are. There's an agenda behind it. And there is a large amount, unfortunately, of the population that cannot see through this. America's elite class, the media, the politicians, the activists, they all are thriving off of chaos. They need the division. They need victims because victims justify their power. If everything were to be peaceful, think about this. If everything were to be peaceful, if people actually live with respect and safety, these activists will be out of business. You understand? I'm not going to go into the pharmaceutical business, but I mean, hint, hint. So they keep fanning the flames. They keep telling you that the system is rigged, right? They'll keep telling you that you're oppressed because they benefit from you. They're going to keep telling you to hate your neighbor because a divided people is a people that's easily controlled. And the result of stories like these, unfortunately, this refugee who thought that America was a safe ends, a safe place, a lady like this ends up no longer alive because the streets aren't safe, because the activists don't really care, because the politicians will not act, because the media won't tell the truth. And that's why leadership matters. That's why voices of courage matter. That's why law and order, it's not a slogan. It's a survival. There's no community, no civilization could survive without law and order. And all of this brings me to my next point, which is Chicago, because the same forces that buried this woman's unaliving are the same forces screaming against Donald Trump, sending in the National Guard to Chicago. They don't want order. They don't want peace. They want power. That is it. They want power. And they don't care how many people are no longer reunited with their family, as long as they can keep the control. So unfortunately, we're in this situation where there's so much going on in the world. Hashem should help us. Let's honor this young lady, this young Ukrainian refugee. Let's honor her by telling the truth that they don't want to be told. Let's honor her by refusing to let her life be forgotten because it doesn't fit the script. And let's honor her by demanding more from our leaders, more from our communities, more from ourselves, because the silence is complicity at this point. You are complying. And I myself, and I'm sure many others like me, we refuse to be silent. I just want to let you know that we have launched Nissim Black Store. All you have to do is go online, order yourself one of these amazing mugs, God is King, with a matching t-shirt. We have a whole plethora of different shirts that are all about representing God wherever you go. As believers in the one true God of Israel, it is our duty not to hide, not to back down, not to shy away from expressing our faith wherever it is that we go. If you want to go and walk righteously before your God with a nice t-shirt, with a nice sweater, with a mug that's reminding us constantly that God is here with us, go to nissimblack.store and make sure you get yourself some merch. It really helps support this channel and everything that we're doing and everything that we plan to do. And trust me, you don't want to miss it. I thank you all for all of your support. So wait, if you like what you just saw, click this one right here. And if you'd rather hear the full episode, you could just click right here. Make sure that you like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so that when any new episodes of the podcast is released, you will be amongst the first to know.